I'm excited, a little anxious, but excited as well. And always nice. It's unusual to see people in this sort of environment. Hopefully a year from now, we're able to do this sort of thing in person. But happy to be presenting some basic functions and features of the LMS today. Maureen provided us with an agenda. And I also just wanted to put in a note to say, thank you, Maureen and Edwin, for making my first few months as enjoyable and helping me learn the ropes as well. We're very fortunate here at Thinking Cap to have a really nice portfolio of clients. And from what I understand about what ARCA is doing, you're doing some fantastic work. So I'm happy to support you in doing that. So shall we get started? Okay, I'm going.
Cynthia, let me just ask if I could get like a, raised hands of people who want to go into a breakout room because they already know how to add users and create courses. And we'll go ahead and do that before you get started, if that's okay.
Sure.
How many want to learn more about branding, and we can put them in a room with Isabel?
Nancy? Yeah.
Nancy, anyone else? Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to go in there as well. But I can also support if you guys need me in a different room if we're doing the some of the basic stuff too.
Okay, and Rhiannon is saying she'd like to learn both, but we're going to try and record the breakout room. So whoever I put in there, I might make you a co-host so you can record. I actually would have to make you a host, but anyway, let me see how this works. So I'm going to do that.
Maureen, maybe we should split. I should be in one of the rooms. You should be in the other.
Yeah, sure. And I created 2 breakout rooms, but I don't see them. Okay.
You may need to launch it.
Yeah, here we go. All right, so I'm going to call room 1 branding. And room 2, what should I call this? Complex stuff. And you guys can talk about what you want to talk about in there. So in branding, you can actually, let's see. Nancy, you want to go there? I just sent you there.
Sure.
And Isabel, I just sent you there. Anybody else want to go there, and I'll send you there?
Oh. Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. And then the complex stuff, anybody else want to join that room? And Doug, I'll send you there, or Abdul?
Either's fine.
Huh?
Either is fine.
Okay, I'm gonna.
I want to stay and watch Cynthia.
Okay, all right. So I'm leaving you there. Anybody else want to go in there? I see Edwin is in there. Evan, do you want to go there?
So my kids aren't here with us today.
I think I'll join. I'll join one of them in a few minutes here. I think I'll probably go into either or.
Okay, so you guys can do that on your own, though.
Yeah, I'll stay on the main room here for a few minutes, and then I'll also hop into one of them as well.
Okay.
We're in Toronto.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're the city that everyone else in Canada hates.
Okay.
Locked down
Isabel, you can't run another room in the same room.
You know what? I'm just going to take my video off, just move 10 feet, and I'll be right with you guys. Stay tuned.
Oh, they're in the same location, I see.
Yeah, our office is closed, but Isabel and I and Cynthia still come in because we can't stay and work from home anymore.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can go in there and record that one.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
You're muted.
I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, so we'll get started. Just going to take myself off of video camera here and switch over to the LMS. Share screen. Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Yep. Yes, we can see it.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so here we are. This is probably familiar to everyone that's on the call, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good stuff. So what Maureen has asked us to review today, at least for the morning session, is just setting up a couple of different e-learning courses. What we'll do is progress from there by doing an ILT session, and from there, setting up a notification and completion notification, and set up a session for an instructor-led training session, and register some users as well. So there'll be a bit of a progression. As you know, within the system, I was saying to Doug yesterday, you know, when you expect something to be in a certain sequence, the LMS is so sophisticated, there's a bunch of different ways you can approach things. But I think for the purposes of this session, we'll go through creating a basic course, then adding on some features and functions to that course. Make sense? So the first thing we're going to do is, just going to move this thing, hang on. We're going to add an activity. So you're familiar with this area. We have our activities over here. I'm going to choose e-learning course. Description of the different types of activities we have are here, choosing an e-learning course in this case. So we've got a bit of a theme going because it's spring here, well, spring in California as well, but you guys, we get more excited about it, I think. So we've got a gardening theme going on for this particular session. So I'm going to call this one Grow Your Own Veggies Basics. Going to give it a course code. We'll call it veggies. Hopefully it accepts that. I've used it before, but it should be fine. Eat your greens. Okay, I'm going to choose for this the marquee. I think I will go with vegetables. This particular e-course should take about an hour or so to complete. I'm going to choose myself as the moderator for the course. We'll skip over these things now. These are your metadata fields. As I said, as we layer on different functions and permissions, we can come back to this. Next. Now I'm going to choose my course content. I'm going to upload, in this case, a PowerPoint presentation. upload course file. It uploaded pretty quickly, but if I want to see, I can go here. Sorry, to my jobs. It's probably already done, so that's good. I'm going to refresh my activities. And there's my new activity in here. You're seeing this grayed out course. This is coming from your root domain, so it lives in here as well. What I'm going to do with this course is now make it active. So I'm going to go to settings. I'm going to click on active. So you can see it's now highlighted. Now what I'd like to do next is enroll a few users into this course. I go to manage, enroll learners. And I happen to have some learners already in here, including me, with my maiden name way back when. That's selected. It's important to note that you need to make the course active before you can enroll people. Request enrollment. Get this out of the way. I want to see who's in here. I might need to refresh. Activities, go into details.
Click on your jobs.
Oh, might still be processing.
There's one job there, so it's
Oh, it doesn't like this.
user failed. Here we try.
Okay. Beginner's
Close the
luck,
window.
eh?
There's no reason to wait there. You just close the
Okay,
window.
okay. So we're not sure if this one, should I redo it again, you think, Doug?
No, I don't think you should redo it. I think you should wait.
Okay.
Let me also, we had a couple of people join after we
Yeah.
made announcements to let them know there are 2 breakout rooms. So if they want to know more about branding, they can go to choose that room, or I can assign them. They want to put in the chat that they want to join that one. And then also if Abdul is standing by, lonely by himself in another room that says complex stuff. So that's, you can just pop in and ask any question about things that are complicated that you want to have him walk you through. So just let me know in the chat if there's something I can do to help you get into a room if you can't choose it.
Yeah, I don't think the course is active. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, the package is not done. That's why you can't.
Okay. Okay.
Just have to wait. Let's move on to something else and then come back to it.
Sure.
The package is
Okay.
being processed, the background tasks.
Okay. So we're going to add another e-learning course. This time we will do another vegetable course. We'll call it Kale 101. I'm going to put a marquee on here. I've got a nice picture of kale. And we'll make this one, say it's 2 hours. That's a lot of talking about kale, but I'll make myself the moderator. I'm going to click next, and we'll make this one a video. Okay, choose file. Okay. Got 2 jobs on the go in progress, so that's good. Okay. So it looks like our kale package has updated. So I'm going to make this course active so that I can go ahead and enroll some learners in it. I'll choose myself again, a few other people. Request enrollment.
You can't be in the front of the learner view and the interview at the same time in the same URL. But you need to go up to your top right of in the application, switch top right of the application, below, farther below, farther below.
To switch to, why isn't it working?
Because you went in with one tab as a learner and one tab as an administrator, and they're colliding.
Sorry, guys. Now I'm all like grayed out, Doug.
Hold on for a second.
I have the 2 things going.
But I think you're jumping ahead before the packaging processes. And it's not your fault, but it's
Now I don't know what you've done. I can't see anything.
okay.
Okay, I'm back. So you can see my screen again. So we have a couple of courses here. It looks like the enrollments went through. So what I can do now is open a new window. Can't find it, hang on.
Are you not sharing anymore?
I'm not hearing or seeing anything. Did we lose her?
No, I'm here. I'm just pulling up the learner view. Just give me 1 second, sorry.
And those other 3 people are launched in the other courses.
Okay,
fine.
good, thank you. Okay, so you should be able to see the learner view now. See the courses that I've been registered in. Grow your own basic veggies, as well as where was kale 10 years ago. I can start my course in here, and I can also look at more info.
And by the way, in the branding room, Isabel is going to share how she did that slider with the text on the side. She's going to send us this fancy CSS file or something, but I love that look on your homepage.
Which slider?
The slider on Cynthia's homepage there.
Okay, so now I think we can move ahead and create an instructor-led session. So go back to activities, add a new activity, instructor-led. Call this one.
Okay. Just want to take a break for 1 second. Does everyone who's in this room know the activity types that are available to us? Because I know we didn't do any preamble at all about what the activities are, what types there exist, and why they're different from one another. Does everyone understand that?
I would say probably no, Doug, just looking at who is in the room, that some may and some don't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like.
Okay, so do you want to stop sharing for a second, please?
Oh,
Cynthia?
yes.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, I need a little feedback from people. So when I ask questions, just anybody just come back and answer it, please. Okay, so Thinking Cap supports multiple types of activities. If you go under settings in your domain or any domain and click on activities, you'll see which ones you've turned on for your domain. So the ones that we can have are e-learning courses, instructor-led training, learning paths, assessments, demonstrations, comprehensions, portfolio, surveys, assignments, and attestations. But these have not been turned on at this level. They need to be turned on in Apparent. So let me go turn that on. And then they'll become available. One second. Might not be my parent. One second. Hitting apply helps. Okay. So the activities support are e-learning courses. E-learning courses can be SCORM 1.2 or 2004 packages. They can be MP4 videos. They can be PDFs. They can be PowerPoint presentations. They can even be AICC courses now. They can also be courses that you write internally in Studio. So pretty much anything that's self-paced learning is generally e-learning. Any questions about that at all?
Mm-hmm.
The other type are instructor-led. Instructor-led courses are made up of multiple sessions, one or more sessions, and sessions can happen either in a face-to-face location or via a webinar provider like Zoom. Assessments are almost exactly the same as the learning courses, just that they tend to be tests. So you are either uploading a SCORM package that is a test or using your internal testing tool to build an assessment. Demonstrations, comprehensions, and portfolio are leaving the LMS over the course of this year, being replaced by attestation. But what they do is a demonstration is some task is done in the real world, and a supervisor is signing off to see that a learner's done that. Comprehension is either a video or a document where the learner is viewing it, and on top of having viewed it, they are saying, I read and understood, or I watched and understood. These are used quite a bit for compliance. Portfolios are generally items done outside the LMS. So if you want to create an activity type called state certification, where people would upload some certification they got from the state, that can be set up as a portfolio with evidence. Surveys are your feedback surveys, the ones that you have on the completion of a course. They can be used as standalone surveys. So if you want to create a survey to enroll people into it on its own, you can do it as a survey. Assignments, again, assignments can be part of activities or they can be standalone. So if you want to create an assignment as a standalone activity type, you can do that. And attestation is the newest type we have, which really replaces the demonstration comprehension portfolio, because in an attestation, you are saying the way to complete this activity is either through a learner or a supervisor or a combination of the two, with or without evidence, attesting to having it being done. Okay, so the first ones that have been added today are e-learning courses, and Cynthia's added one of those, and now she's moving on to an instructor-led course. One note I'll make before we move on is you also have settings under activities, not only where we set up which activities you turned on, but also we have presets, exclusions, and wizards. These allow you to go in and make a setting for any one of the many, many settings we have in activities and specify what the default value should be. You can also, once you set up your defaults, set up exclusions. You can say, we never use pricing. So I'm going to remove this, and by adding that to exclusions, it will never show up in your menu. Wizards are around which items do you want the person adding a course to go through. So Cynthia went through a first page of basic information, a second page of providing the package, and then she was dumped back into the Explorer view, and she could then go and set up whichever settings she wanted to. But let's say you guys do credits all the time. You could say, I want credit rules to be for e-learning courses always in the completion settings, and sorry, in the setup wizard. So someone would do the basic settings, then the package, then the credits, and then they'd be done. So often we'll add the items that are common here to make just the administrative load easier and easier to join people. Okay. So Cynthia, I'm going to give it back to you, but that's sort of just a basic. Any questions before I hand it back to her in terms of what the universe of activity types are?
No.
Okay.
Thanks, Doug. Okay, so we were putting in a instructor-led session, an ILT. I need to put in a session title. So we'll call this one Fruit 101 Tropics. Description for the course, oranges, citrus. We're going to set a date. This is where we can either choose to make the time and date to be determined or select a date. What I'm going to do in this case is actually just set it for yesterday because we need to take attendance. So obviously you can't take attendance on a course that hasn't happened yet. So we'll pretend this course is happening yesterday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. This is coming from your metadata existing rooms that are already in here. We'll say we want a new room, call it Tahiti, why not? Okay, this is the style of the room. Go ahead and click next. There's my ILT. A couple of things I'm going to do here. I'd like the people who do end up enrolling in this class to get notification that they've been enrolled as well as completed. So I can do that by going into communications. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to go into, session options. Because I want to make sure that I'm going to be taking attendance on this course. So I'm going to click off this, attendance taken by the moderator or teacher's assistant, update that. Okay. Back in here to communications, I can choose my notifications in here. Here we have completion notice as well as enrollment notification. I'm going to turn these on.
Okay, so again, I'm going to stop you there, Cynthia.
Yep.
We need to explain why there's only 3 notification types that are there.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to go to your screen, to the Explorer view? In your share?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So close this window.
Oh, sorry.
Go to the main domain menu.
Mm-hmm.
Go to communications.
Mm-hmm.
Then notifications. So these are all the notifications that are available in the system. And as you can see, not all of them are turned on, and some of them don't have anything to do with the course, but most of them do. So so keep scrolling down till you find some that are for
Due date,
so
enrollment.
we've got enrollment notifications, we've got enrollment reminders, we've got due date reminders, we've got overdue reminders, we've got submission of we've got all kinds of things. Payment processing, everything is there as a notification. So when Cynthia was in the course and she brought up and we saw 2 notification types that were there available to turn on, that's not the full universe of notification types. Those are just the ones that have been turned on for this domain.
Doug, I have a question on that. If you leave that screen on, like for example, on the notification where it says due date notification and it only goes to the learner and the moderator,
Yes.
how do we add additional recipients? Like if we wanted to go to the supervisor?
There's a button that says manage recipients.
All kinds of different ways you can add it in.
I see.
But yes, you're only adding, so we have, so for different types, we've got the moderator, the supervisor, and where we're naming the role. But here so click on the role actually on the final one.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to scroll down, this can go to people based on security role as well.
I see.
Though I would make a note, Cynthia, that supervisor should be a role that shows up here as well.
Okay.
Because these are just the security roles, not the role, the other kind of role.
Thank you.
So I've turned these on. Also within here on a per course basis, I can see who this is going to be going to. So the supervisor is in here. This is where if I wanted to, instead of using the default notification, I could customize it in here using some HTML. Okay. I'm pretty sure I did that. Yeah, good. Okay, so I think I'm ready to enroll some users in this course. I've got my notifications set up.
It's not active though, is it?
I think, oh, not yet. You're right. Sorry. It must be active before you enroll users. Enroll learners. Do myself again. Refresh. I should be able to flip over here to the learner view and see my new course. And there it is. I've got my growing. Remember that because this course is actually already taken place, I can't actually start it. I need to go back now and take attendance in that course. Okay, so remember earlier we set it to allow the moderator or teacher assistant to take attendance. So we're going to go back in here. We're going to go to attendance. These are the 2 people who were enrolled in this course. I can say that this person attended and that this person did not attend. Good so far?
I have a question, Cynthia, on the attendance. Sure. I know there's various different options, right? I think there was attended, excused, unexcused. So what would be indicated on that learner's transcripts? Like, for example, if they did not attend and it was an unexcused absence, will the transcripts be reflective as a completed course? Because I think that's something that I had seen in the past.
Doug, can I ask you to field that one? What displays on the transcript?
Well, generally we don't use the not attended because
Okay.
it doesn't tell you much at all. You're
Yeah.
going to go into, you're going to want to add attendance with, so do you want to enroll someone else so we can see the list that was there?
Sure. David, add. Okay.
So the pull down list for David.
Mhm.
No withdrawal reason provided, withdrawn based on auto withdrawal rules, withdrawal during bulk operation, excused, no show on leave. So excused and no show are there out of the box. Do you want to close this window now, please?
Mhm.
And I believe it's under domain settings. Settings, the first one. The
Sorry.
first one. And then instructor led. And then attendance, is it there? No. General settings, session defaults. No, I gotta remember where it is. But we allow you to set up your reasons why someone might be there, may not be attending. So you might want to put like maternity leave or sick leave or any other bunch of other reasons. And those reasons will show up in the transcript as the reason why they haven't attended. If you don't use them, if you don't add those ones, it'll just simply say not attended.
Okay, so what we're seeing right now are these set reasons. So where would we have the flexibility to add? Where would I go to add those reasons?
Just give me 1 second. I forgot where they are. Yes. Okay. So go to activities, settings. We were settings, activities. And then withdrawal reasons. So here you can add reasons.
I see.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
That was under which tab again? Can you go back?
Yep. We went to main menu, settings,
Settings,
activities.
activities.
Yeah. Withdrawal reasons, and then add a reason.
And so you can actually have that moved, please, out of there and into ILTs, because it's only for an ILT thing. So it should
Okay.
be under, it should be under the ILT.
Okay.
So
Got it.
that's where it is now, but I expect to find it under instructor led, under a new tab that says the same thing as withdrawal reasons.
Okay. All righty. So far, so good?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, next up, Maureen has on the agenda adding a user. So we're going to click over here onto users.
Sorry. Can I ask one question? I'm sorry.
Sure.
I thought we were still within that activities. E-learning courses.
Yeah.
In the beginning, when I took this position, just playing an LMS, there's some courses we set, and my learners in there have not completed. I kind of want to give them grace. I want to clear them. How can I do a mass attendance clear in an e-learning course? Is there an option instead of going through and clicking each user's transcript and mark it default, how I can manually give them credit? I want to know if there's a way that I can look at a course and just give them a pass, move them all through.
So first of all, so we're not going to use things like attendance, because when we're talking about e-learning, we're no longer talking about attendance. We're talking about something different. So attendance is only just in terms of how we talk about things around ILTs.
Okay.
And what you're looking to do is to bulk complete a whole bunch of users.
Yes.
There's a couple ways to do that. If you want to go to manage for one of these courses, Cynthia.
But not an instructor led, right?
Not instructor led. Go to
Any other one.
yeah. Go to go to anyone else. Yeah, there is no way to do that. There's no way to do that because it's supposed to be the outlier. If they haven't done the work, I don't know why you want to say they have. Generally, we complete users, and I'm not being combative here. I'm just sort of telling you from our point of view, then you tell us from yours. From our point of view, it's only in exceptional circumstances do you use the tools inside the transcript to set people as complete, because there's something wrong with the course package that in certain circumstances is complete, but you're convinced they've done all the work. You can go in and then complete them manually. But other than that, why is it you want to say that they're complete when they are not?
Well, like I said in the beginning, I was just playing with it. And when Maureen had originally given a lot of Standard 7 tutorials on purchase as a service and stuff like that we use at our centers.
Okay.
And so I did a lot of that, but it turns out that we got that information in another direction as well. Something like that, where it happened, it just, I was just dispatching these courses, trying to figure out how it worked. And so now I'm left with ancient courses on these transcripts that I want to remove, and I found that I have to do it one by one. And yes, that's not ideal. It's not moving forward.
I'm misunderstanding. Are you wanting to set them as complete, or you want to remove them?
I would rather, I guess, whichever is easier. I can set it as complete.
Well, set it with, so what you'll want to do is go to withdraw learners, which she's showing right now. So
Okay.
click on that to the withdraw learners.
Yep.
And then go to browse.
Yep.
Okay.
And then you can just click on as many as you want and then move them over and move them over in one shot.
Okay.
And that's the simplest way to kick people out of the course.
Yeah. Okay. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, what we don't want to do is we don't want to complete them because they're not complete. And that
Right.
would mean that the data was incorrect. And so that's why we have a facility for it, because there are outlier cases, but it'll never be an easy thing in our system because it's just, we don't want to invite bad data.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so moving on to creating new user. So we can go over here, users. We have the option over here to add a user. Put in anybody we want here. Bob Smith, I guess, is a good one. Put in any old email, I guess.
Well, change that email because that's gonna be a problematic email if you want to ever demonstrate an email going to someone. So you just make it Cynthia04 and at least it'll go to somebody.
Okay. Okay.
No, not there.
Oh, oops. Okay, apply. There we go. We've got our new user. In here, Bob Smith, right here.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
So on my program, I've noticed there's like a default job title. Is there a way to undefault it, or is that just kind of standard, like the systems learn that that's the one I use most or something? Does that make any sense?
Click on metadata. So go into the main menu. Settings, custom fields.
Mm-hmm.
So is one of these fields the one we're talking about?
Yeah.
Which one?
Let's see here. No, sorry, go back up.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, no, I think it was like their title.
Okay, so close this window.
Title or department.
Add user. So which field? The title?
It's further down, sorry.
Farther down. Title?
Is it this one?
I think it's title.
That's just freeform text. And it's gonna, and yeah, your browser will probably put in there automatically what you've put in before. Just
That's
it's
what
your
I-
browser doing that. It's not us.
Okay, thank you. I thought so.
Yeah. You want to write in pirate, we won't stop you.
Okay. So that's how you add a user. Any questions? Oh. Maureen, was it your intention to break, or do you want to keep going?
If we have a minute, may I ask a question?
Yep.
When you were talking about uploading e-courses before and the MP4 was an option, does the MP4 have to be, do you have to do anything special to upload it and to kind of process it afterwards? Because I've done it before and it just kind of sits there pending.
I don't think there's a size limit. Doug, does it just take a few minutes?
Does what take what? Sorry, my apologies.
That's okay. When you
Uploading
upload an
MP4 into the
MP4
e-learning?
file.
Oh, it can take time. Yeah, there's once it needs to be, it can take, so you might see that it's in your job for 10 minutes or 20 minutes even, like it's been inside the video. It gets processed. So it's not just, once it's uploaded, we need to process it as well. So a video can take time to go through that process. Gets encoded.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
There's also some information you might, if you're finding that they're taking a long time, it's probably because you're loading extremely large videos. And you should probably be using a tool like Handbrake to optimize them for the web before they're put up. Like we've got customers who will put up a hour-long presentation as a video and they're putting up 4 gigs and there's no reason for it to be 4 gigabytes. With using a tool like Handbrake, which is freely available, that should be 400 megabytes tops.
Okay, thank you.
And if you ever have a question that asks support, we've got a few help pages on like where to get Handbrake, what settings to use, and things like that.
Thanks, Doug.
Sure.
Okay, do we want to carry on to create a custom catalog page, or did folks need a break?
Maybe a break. Just a quick one.
Sure. It's 33 minutes past the hour. Do we want to stop until 1:45?
Retail.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
great.
Thank you.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
1:45.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Guys, there is a 10-minute break, I guess, coming up. I don't know if this is a good time to do that or.
We're on break right now here until.
Oh, okay, great.
For another, we're back on in 7 minutes.
Okay. I'm not going to mess with the recording because all of the rooms are recording at the same time, but people are coming back into this room and they're on a 7-minute break here. 7-minute remaining time. Then we'll come back. And Doug, are we going to just follow the agenda or do you need time to finish up whatever you were going over?
I think we were following the agenda. I think our next move was to move to the next item on the agenda, the custom pages.
Okay, great, perfect. I know that's important. People want to know. And the other breakout room on branding, they certainly people that are, were in that room can go back to that room if they don't want to know about the catalog. But I would say that the new pages stuff, we all need to probably be in the main room for that because it's a change. So we'll see you in a few minutes, probably now 5 minutes. Evan's avatar actually looks like him.
Hello. We're all back.
So Cynthia, you're going to cover the pages.
Yeah.
So the catalog issues, people are still having issues with the catalog that I thought we went in and made changes, and then I came back and I don't see them. So one of them is Harbor. Is there anybody from Harbor here? I was hoping they would be joining us, but anyway, I'll reach out to them based on this and share the recording with them. So go ahead and get started, and then we can answer questions. And if anybody wants to go back into the branding room, you can, but I would suggest, because the catalog page is a total transformation, and it's new, and we've had lots of things going on to switching to it. And then the other thing, Cynthia, is if my activities is going that direction, we need to disable our my courses and my learning paths and go with that as well. But it needs to be set up in each of the domains, so you can cover that.
Okay.
Let me just, so she's getting there, I'll tell you what's going on. Is that we are, our attempt is to get rid of as many page types as possible in the Learner View and allow you to be able to do anything you want with any page you add. So the new structure allows you to create a page that can have content on it, can have lists of activities on it, can have any of the tiles we used to use only on the homepage on it, so that you have as much freedom to build any learning experience you want. And so you'll be seeing some changes coming to the page structure, but you're going to see a lot of the built-in ones are disappearing. So there's no built-in catalog page. If you want a catalog page, make a catalog page. And what is included in a catalog page is ultimately decided by you. So I'll speak about that a little more as you get into it, but go ahead, Cynthia.
Okay. So there's a couple of steps we're going to need to take in order to get some content for those same courses that we just created showing up in the learner view in the catalog, right? So right now, nothing in there. It would be nice if learner could see this. So what we need to do to get started is set up a few custom fields and then go on to create a custom page. So we're going to go to settings, custom fields. We're going to need some new custom fields in here. Call this gardening topics. Okay, we're going to choose the field type, single choice. I'm going to click apply. Now what I want to do is add some choices to this. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to add a choice. Call one fruit, spell it right. Oops. Add another one. And we'll do one more. Okay. Now we're going to, I'm just going to make sure I'm clicking apply. Now we need to choose where the usage should be on this. So this is where you're going to pick what types of activities you want to apply this metadata to. So we created just e-learning and instructor-led, but later on we're going to do a learning path. So I'm just going to select everything here. Apply. Now I'd like these things to appear, of course, in the catalog and be searchable. So I'm going to toggle here and toggle here. Now we want to go into the activities we created and apply these new custom fields. Okay. So I'm going to go back into my activities. We've got eat your greens. I'll go back into settings.
Basics.
Hmm?
Basics.
Sorry, basics. Scroll down here. And I'm going to choose veggies for this one. So this is my new category in metadata that I just created. Apply. Do the same thing for this one. Choose veggies again. You can choose kale, doesn't matter. Okay. Do another one.
Two's fine.
Okay. Okay. Now, because I want these things to appear in the catalog, we need to set these courses to allow self-enrollment. So I'm going to go into enrollment again. Self-enrollment. Allow self-enrollment. Allow domain members to self-enroll. Apply. Same thing here. Oops, sorry. Oh, I clicked, sorry. Self-enrollment. Allow self-enrollment, allow self-enrollment, and the domains. Fine. So we've done that for our 2 courses. Now it's time.
Just to note while we're there, this is the kind of area where presets are helpful.
Mm-hmm.
If all of your courses are always set to self-enroll, setting that as a default for the domain just saves you time as an administrator.
Okay, so now it's time to set
Can you
up.
demo that, Doug?
Well, this is going forward, not backwards. So if you have courses that are not set to self-enroll, it's not going to automatically make all of them.
Go back and change them all. No.
Yes. So it's just the default. It's just the default, and it means that when you add a course, it's going to be set that way, and you'll have to set it to manual enroll. You know, for everything you add going forward, not backwards.
I think that's good practice going forward, Maureen. So maybe we should demo that for the new admin.
Cynthia, can you please go to the main menu for the domain?
Yeah.
Go to activities.
Good idea.
Settings.
Mm-hmm.
Activities.
Mm-hmm.
Presets. Add.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're looking for enrollment options. Here's the first one. And then, so you just do for e-learning for now. So click e-learning at the top.
Yeah.
Self-enrollment rules. Allow self-enroll. Domain.
That should be it, right?
Apply. Yeah. So click on presets. And now we have a preset that. And it allows
Click on
override.
confirm.
This is a nice thing to say that for the allow override, if you uncheck this, it will mean that anytime anyone sets it this way, creates a new activity, they'll never be able to change it from this. Allow override. You're going to want to allow override, but this is one of the fun things about this is that if you have a domain with a lot of administrators and you're concerned about maintaining quality across it, using presets that don't allow override stops staff members from making mistakes. Okay, so.
Okay, so we're going to go back into now create our new page. So main menu. We're going to go to experience, select pages. I think we'd like, these are the things here, gardening content, you're seeing these over here, gardening content and forums. I think for our purposes, we want to show this within the catalog. So I'm going to go to catalog, I'm going to add a page. I'm going to call it Spring Gardening. Okay. I could choose an image here if I wanted to. We can skip that for now. I want to make sure that I haven't made a public page. And I've set up my page. Now I'm going to go back to my activities.
Why? Sorry, why did you make it go back to public? Why you went back to your activities?
Don't I want to put it on the catalog page?
Why would you do Why would you do that from the catalog? From the simple fact that it is set to self-enroll puts it into that page.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't need to add things in the catalogs. Catalogs self-assemble.
Okay.
So
okay.
we created a sample catalog page earlier. So if you go to that catalog page now, you're going to see the two that you set for self-enrollment.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe we can start by just creating a sample one of those pages.
Okay. So am I editing this page?
Just click on it.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yes. Sorry. Content. Sorry, guys. Learning activities, apply. Learning activities.
You have to apply. You've lost your content on. You need to apply if you want to save it.
So the content area now has a nice content editor. If you are getting into more advanced stuff, we can cover that in one of the breakout sessions, but you can enter HTML2 specifically if you're interested in that later.
Okay, apply. We'll go to our learning activities. Include catalog and page. And we want to check these off.
So before you, okay, so stop, please.
Mm-hmm.
I want to explain this page. So on this page, we've chosen to include a list of some kind, so a catalog. The first choice you're making in your catalog is whether you're including items that a learner could enroll into or what they are enrolled into. So if you're looking for people to discover new things, you're going to have to click on the box, include activities available to learners for enrollment. Then you're determining after that the types of activities you want to include. So if you want everything in there, click on everything. And it doesn't matter if you're including things that you don't have yet. It's just going to show up as these won't be there because they're not existing. Do you want to explain the rest of this page piece by piece?
Well, while she's clicking off the different activity types, of those two options, if you are building a catalog of things that are available for self-enrollment and you only select the second option, it will not preclude or exclude activities if you don't select the first option. So the first option being things you're enrolled into and the second option available for enrollment. If you are enrolled in something that is available for enrollment, it'll still appear if you only select the things that are available for enrollment. Okay, so if you're already enrolled in it, it won't skip it just because you haven't selected to show the things you're enrolled into. Okay.
The reason for that is that some people, they'll look at a list of items and they're like, where's that other course? And even though that course, because you're already enrolled into, you know it exists, we're not going to hide it just because of that. So, yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to apply.
Okay, before we get there, okay, so
all right.
can we explain the parts above this, please? Like, what are included origins, Cynthia?
We want to include, so what we're doing is we're including the items we've created for the catalog in this current domain. We don't have, of course, a child domain for spring gardening, but if we did, we could include it in those catalogs here, as well as the parent domains and the peer domains.
So it's really referencing the origin of the activity itself. So just because this domain doesn't have a subdomain, we're selecting the current domain, not saying that anything in this domain, that's Cynthia, right? If you say the child domain, it would mean that for the context of you guys, if you have a regional center and you're putting a catalog page in the overarching regional center domain, you could select child domain the learner is a member of. So parents would only see the parent ones, providers would only see the provider ones, and staff would only see the staff ones. So it would be specific to ones that the learner was a member of, but does give you the option to pull those in if you want to. And then parent domain is really looking the other way up the tree of your domain. So that would be if something was in root, you could include it in the root ARCALearn domain. And then peer domains would be something at the same level. It's looking different branches of the tree.
Let me make it easy for you. You're never going to use them. Always click on the current domain.
Current domain and maybe child domain that you're a member of. Yeah.
Because you can't enroll in a course from another domain, can you?
You can only ever, so it would only ever be specific to a domain that the person was in which case, if you are a member of every single regional center, it could bring back all of those if you selected to allow it in this list. So if you checked every single one of those boxes and you were a member of every single one of them, then in theory, you could very easily self-enroll into it, but only because you have permission to.
That's not true, because the structure of your domains, you'd never be in a domain that included like all the parents and all the children and all the peers. So, but what you're saying is mostly true. We have a customer, and what they've done is they've set up they've got one domain, which is the parent, and then a whole bunch of children. And they put courses in the child domains and users in the children are in the child domains as well. But they use the single domain for everyone to go to. And that's why they use the setting to show the stuff in the child domains, because actually in their case, nothing in the parent, it all bubbles up from the child domains. But that's a very weird use case that we rarely would see.
Okay, so I'm going to click off now, include activities matching the rules.
Does everyone understand fast start?
Less clicks.
Yeah, Fast Start will allow the learner, instead of saying enroll, it'll say start. And if they click on it, it will perform the enrollment and launch the course in one click rather than having to enroll and then enter. And the enroll only from details page removes the enroll button from the catalog and forces you to drill down on the details to be able to do the enrollment.
And before you click on that, also the option, if you're creating a catalog that has, that you're focusing on instructor-led events, if you're really focusing on getting people into instructor-led events, it would be frustrating if it was full. So you have the option also to remove from the list ILTs that are full. So if you are looking at including a lot of instructor-led events, I definitely recommend checking that box. Okay, we're going to choose our metadata field gardening spring 2021. Say fruit. Add another rule. So what we're saying here is we only want to bring in activities that are available for sophomore run or whatever other settings we selected before, and further filter them down a little bit more by selecting ones that match specific specific rules. Just like when you're doing an automated enrollment, you want to bring everyone in who matches specific user metadata field rules. This way, we're just bringing in things that that match specific activity specific metadata rules. So it's not required if you don't select it, it'll bring back activities based on your previous settings, but it does give you the option to further filter it down more. Okay. Preview this rule. Might need to refresh. Oh, you lost the settings. You have to check the box again. Scroll up. You missed, you refreshed without saving the changes. So just click on the include in catalog again and just reselect some of those settings. Yeah. Okay. Actually, can you scroll up a little bit? There's a couple of things I want to point out in this bit. What you couldn't access before and you couldn't modify before, you can now do with regards to your filtering. So what options you present to learners going to the page, you can now modify that too. So you can say what you'll see on the first 3 rows there are different system options for filtering. So there's a system filter for the type of activity it is. There's one for the status. If you're doing any sort of accreditation with credits, then there are a series of credit options as well. And then whatever you ever see on the last line are activity specific custom fields that are available for filtering. Okay, so you could say, I want to allow the gardening spring 2021 to be used as a filter on the page, which might be a good one to do. And if you're doing, typically if you're doing pages like my training page where you're listing off things that people enrolled into, then status will be one that they'll care about too. Okay. So actually, can I get you to select the gardening spring 2021? That's your new custom field, right? They're using above. Yeah. Yep. Oh, no, scroll down, scroll down. Just below the add exclusion. No, don't add the exclusion rule, just below that. And then next, under the last row, the middle option. This one? Last row, middle option, gardening spring 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll just add that field as a filter on the page. And then there are a few other settings. If you're building a catalog that has a lot of options on the page, then you may want to include a search box, and that allows you to search further what's being used on that page. So say you have 500 activities, say, and you're listing those, no one's going to paginate through all of those. They want to be able to do a quick keyword search of those activities. So that gives you the option on the page for that. The next one, include activity progress measure. That's really just, you want to have a progress bar if you're doing a page like a my training page or my courses page, so the ones you already enrolled into. And then the other options allow sorting, are really good. Again, if you have a large number of lists and you want to be able to allow people to sort differently than perhaps what you have selected. So Cynthia, could you check that allow sorting option?
Mm-hmm.
So you get two sort of options there. The first one is what's the default sort order you want to allow for. And then the next group of options is around what do you want the learner to be able to change it to after the page is loaded. So you can say you always want to show it in title order, but you might actually want to say it based on the most popular ones at the top of the page, or you might want to say the ones that that were added most recently appear at the top of the page. And then the allow the learner to sort by would be the options that you would allow them to change it to after the fact. So you might say, I always want to sort by title, but I want to allow the learner to sort by the title and the recently added date, maybe start date, those sorts of things. Okay.
Cynthia, Maureen, I'm jumping between rooms. So if you can go back up to the top and just show me what settings you have. Okay. So see the box that is checked says include items the learner is enrolled into. My question about that, and what I've been advising people, is to uncheck that, because if you're going to browse the catalog and any page in the catalog, you want to see things. It's like going to the library. You want to be able to check out books that are on the shelf. You don't want to check out books that you already have at home. It just seems like if we tell them, well, the learning activity page, I'm sorry, this is a learning activity page, or no, this is a catalog page.
Yes.
Never mind. Okay, so I would uncheck that box, just because our description says browse courses that are available for you to enroll in. Well, if you're already enrolled in it, it's no longer available. You're there, and you access that going to my activities page. Does that make sense to everybody? I mean, you can certainly check it if you want, but I would say when you're giving instructions to people, the fact that you can get to all these things through different methods is confusing to people. If your message is always, if you want to find out what you can enroll in, go to the catalog. Go to the catalog specific topic that you want to view what's available. And if you want to see what you're already enrolled in, go to my activities. That's where you're going to find all your courses. So does that make sense? Any thoughts?
My thoughts are that when you set up two pages, one of catalog and one of my stuff, then I agree with you that you should break them out that way. I also happen to think, though, that I like learner views where there's only one page and it's just filtered. But if you're going to do a two-page approach, then yeah, I would agree. Like, put stuff you can enroll in and stuff you are enrolled in into separate buckets.
Right. And maybe as people get to be better at using it, I know that for my center, if we just tell people, if you want to see what you're enrolled in, go to my activities. If you want to see what's a live training, virtual or otherwise, go to my agenda. And if you want to see what's available that you're not enrolled in, go to the library, my browse catalog. And they get that, you know, I mean, we repeat the same message over and over.
Yep, I would then I would be consistent, yeah.
If we give them instructions to say everything is on one page, just filter it to the
Okay,
left.
so Cynthia, turn off the enrolled things that enrolled into.
Okay.
Okay.
And I would want to set the default for anything that's in the catalog to this option right here, because what's happening now is the default is include items learner is enrolled into. And what happens is if they're not enrolled in anything and that other box isn't checked, we have people that are going to the catalog saying, there's nothing in the catalog. There's nothing there because that box include activities available for enrollment is not checked. The other one is checked and they're not enrolled in, they're brand new learner. They're not enrolled in anything. They're new staff. And so they go, gosh, there's nothing in the library, no books. So if we could set this as the default, that would be awesome. But just my opinion.
Do you want to go save this and visualize it?
Yep.
Now, before you leave the page,
Mm-hmm.
click OK.
Mm-hmm.
Scroll down.
Mm-hmm.
If you're ever at all interested, eventually where it says Bob not found, once you leave this page, you come back to it. You just go to my coursework. No, don't leave the whole thing. Just go to another page.
Just click on a different page in the sitemap on the left.
Page sitemap.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And then go back. And there you can see the last time we created the blob. And so a blob are all the courses that would be included based on this. So part of this is to make the system easier to use and give you more control, but it's also for performance. We're pre-calculating a lot of things to make these pages fly much faster. Okay, so now why don't you close this window and go to the Learner View, or you can just leave this up and actually go to the other tab where you have Learner View. Click on catalog.
There's our courses.
So the page, the new page that we just created is the sub page of that one. So if you mouse over catalog and go into spring gardening, I just want to point out that on the left is the different selected filters. So we added the gardening spring 2021 filter, and that shows up like this. Okay. And in this demo domain, we have this inside the ARCALearn LMS, so you guys can get access to it after. We've set up the 3 most common page settings, I would say, that I've seen. Catalog being the main usual setup for a catalog. My coursework would be a traditional one set up for if you are listing off activities that someone is enrolled into. And then events would be one where you're really focusing on a whole series of upcoming ILTs, in which case showing the events, just click on the events page, not the agenda, the events page. This shows it in a calendar view. So all 3 of these are custom pages that you've created. You've added in your specific activities, and based on what you've added and when they occur, they'll appear in the catalog. And you can change this view from month to week to day to more like an agenda list and so on and so forth. So you have the different views for this. Okay, but all 3 of these are just based on the selections that you made in the sitemap on that learning activities tab.
Isabel, can you go to the My Agenda page? And I don't know if there's anything in it, but one of the things I noticed is the time is not there. It says date and time.
It won't show a time for an e-learning activity, but it will for a, it'll give you more information about the session if it was an ILT event.
But if we have ILT events, it's still not showing the time on this page. You have to click on the details. So
I'll have to take a look at that and see.
Yeah, you can go on our domain, our staff domain, and you'll see if you log in as me. Or,
Yes, well, why would we ever use, like, is this page not going to be going away, the My Agenda page? In considering you can build a My Agenda page with a custom page, why would you use this built-in page?
Because we've trained people to use it, and I, you know, I have to fully understand what the other options are before I can switch to it. So for right now, we need the My Agenda page to have a date and a time like it says here. It has the date only. So
Isabel, can you answer my question at least? Like, I know what Maureen's opinion is in terms of using it, but is there any reason why you cannot make this page with a custom page?
No, but you would have to, the control that we're using allows you to go by month, by week, or by day, or by list. It would be allowing you to select which of those, if you selected the calendar view, which of those would be the default, I think would probably help a lot. But if you go, sorry, can you click back on events? Because unlike the other page, if you were to click on, say, any one of those events listed in the calendar, and it doesn't matter which view you're in, if you click on one of them, it gives you all the information about it. So if it was a session, it would have all the session information right there.
right, no, I get that. But
Yeah,
right
but
now we're using the My Agenda page, and it says date and time, and people call me to say, what time is the training? They don't click on details, regardless of if I put that in the email. They just say, what time does it start? And, you know, because it used to have the time there. It doesn't now. So anyway, that's an issue I can do offline.
And it's the kind of thing where we would deal with that issue by having Zach come in on a Saturday and change all of the agenda pages across all of your domains to custom pages that were the new agenda and fix it there. We're not repairing anything in pages that we've already slated for removal.
I see. Okay, but it would not, the events page would be this calendar. We wouldn't have the option of it having it look the same.
Well, that's what Isabel was raising, was that she would want us, before we did that, to give you an option to pick the default setting. So you could say that you want it to load as a list. So click on list is. Or sorry, Cynthia, can you click on the thing that we're talking about, please?
No, no, down. So to the right of the month.
Sorry, right here. Yeah.
Yep.
944.
So you'll be playing around with that setup.
Yes, so that it would load like this by default and show you what you wanted to do. So click on an item in there.
Got that. This works fine. This works fine.
Click
yeah, because it shows the time.
Cynthia,
can you click on each of greens?
Yeah.
No, that's March. Okay, thank you.
Okay, this works. Yeah. Okay.
So what we'd want to do is add it so that you would specify when you created the page that not only do you want to use the calendar view, but you want to use the calendar view starting in list. And we could probably even let you choose whether or not to well,
yeah,
I see no reason to stop people from doing it, but I can at least tell you what the first, like, begin as list.
With the default, yes.
Yeah.
This would work.
And
okay.
Actually, I would tend to always start as list, because if the items aren't in this month or week or day that you've got as a selected, it's kind of useless to people. It's better to start with a list of everything and then go to the particular from there.
So, but by default, so the people that are using it are people who have a ton of ILTs, and they have so many that they want to show it from a month view by default, and it does always default to the current month, is the way that it's set up right now. And then if you go down to the week, the current week, the day, the current day, and
but
so
what
forth,
if,
and then list is today going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's why I was saying we should allow you to select that type, I think.
Okay, that sounds good. Question answered. Thank you.
Isabel, is this what you're doing this afternoon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware.
Can we go back to pages, please, on the admin side?
Yep.
And scroll up so we can see above this. Okay, so there's another item to the right of learning activities, says access rules. When you turn these on, you can create metadata rules or use rules from the library you've already created to control access to different pages. So if you wanted to, let's say instead of having an entire domain for your board of directors, you just wanted to have a page for board of directors, but you only wanted to show to users who were in the board, you could create that page and then create a rule that would describe that user. And then when they logged in, they'd only see the page if they were that person.
So yeah, that would be, instead of having subdomains for each of your different audiences, having them all go to the same domain, but giving them different pages that they and only they get to see because they are who they are. So parents versus providers versus staff would have access to different pages entirely. Their sitemap would appear different, even though it's looking at the same base of activities, and perhaps then you're further selecting, I want to show these activities because they're staff specific on a staff specific page.
Now, we're not directing you to do that. I think the way you've got it laid out is nicely with the different URLs, because it also means that you don't have to be as complicated in your enrollment rules. Like if you did it the way we're showing, you could do it with access rules and pages, you'd have to then create, oh, well, only board members can self-enroll in this, only this can enroll. So it'd be more complicated. But if you ever want to create a domain where you want to have some extra pages for certain users that other users don't see, it's available to you. Okay, that's all I have to say on any other questions about custom pages? So our goal is that there will only, at some point, there will only ever be a very finite number of pages in the learner view, but that when you add a page, you can do anything you want with that page. And I put in the chat a link into a PDF that it describes everything we've talked about here in pretty great depth.
Does anyone have any questions about a type of page you might set up? And if it's unclear at all about what the setting would be to select for anything, to bring back the list of activities you'd want? There is one thing I kind of wouldn't mind covering. If you can click back on catalog for me for a second, or actually it doesn't matter what page, but any one of those pages, and stay on the first tab. There are a couple things I want to make sure that everyone's aware of on this page. First off, obviously the title and the description are useful things to have. I mean, we haven't bothered changing the descriptions, but if you're using the section tile on the homepage, this is where the description comes from. So definitely fill in the description. Also, if you mouse over the title, then in the sitemap, then the description will appear. The next thing I wanted to point out, don't move.
Oh, okay.
Then in the next box down is the permalink. So it's taking whatever the URL is / and then whatever you put in that box. So we've said catalog. I would recommend that if you're all going to have catalog pages, that you put catalog in as your permalink. It just means you don't have to remember what the URL is. You can just go /catalog and get straight there. It's a useful one to have. If you ever have pages that you want to redirect, say, to a specific activity, or you want to redirect out somewhere else, so like a privacy page perhaps on or another page on your regional center's website, if you click on the redirect checkbox, you can put the full URL in there, or you can put like /catalog if you want to take people back to the catalog or something. But you can put a full URL in there. There's just a note there making sure that it includes the HTTP or the HTTPS. So if you just browse to that page on, say, your regional center's website, copy the full address from the bar and then paste it into there, then when anyone clicks on that item, wherever it appears in the sitemap, in the menu, they'll be redirected to that other URL completely, instead of going into the page and then having to go somewhere else from there. Okay.
Isabel, can you also click on the English up in the right-hand corner? Because we have people that are, you know, having Spanish and other languages. So you have to remember to go in and put your description and your title in that language, because otherwise they're just going to see this.
Sure. Can you hold on one second though? Hold on 1 second. There's one other item in there, which is choose the background image. I noticed this when I was going through the branding options. If you are putting an item in your main menu and you're using a section feature tile, this is where it's pulling that image from. So if you're ever missing any images, this is where you want to pull that, place that image. So just choose an image and upload it. It doesn't matter the image, and you don't have to do it right now, but you can just pick an image and I'll put it in that, it'll use that for the background image if you're using that in the section feature tile. So if you're one of those regional centers that has the section features and you have background images on them, this is where it's going to pull that image from. Okay.
And sorry, we'll get back to what Maureen was talking about, but just Cynthia, the homepage tiles tab at the top to the right of click on that, please.
Yep.
These will all be moving out of here and into a new tab on a page, so that all current homepage tile options will become available to any page. So leaderboards, passes, all these things will be able to be put on any page. So you can define anything you like.
Okay, scroll back up and then head back into the page again. Is that not pages?
And we'll talk about the language. Yeah.
So right now, if we were to click on the English dropdown at the top right, those languages that you're seeing there are based on the domain settings. So if you go into your domain and basics, you can select which languages you want your domain to be available to learners in. As soon as that is selected and you've added a language or deselected a language, it's going to update this list right here. So say we want to include Spanish and we want to flip over to the Spanish version. Then you need to enter the Spanish translation of what your custom title is and your description. Okay. This also, if you were to click on the content tab and then say select Spanish in that dropdown, don't forget to put the Spanish version of your content in there as well. Okay.
Also, the static things like that are on the home page are automatically translated. They're static things. So this is just custom pages.
Yes.
And custom content that you need to translate. So that if the user chooses to only see things in their language, and then at the top when they log in, they choose Spanish, they're not going to see anything in English, because the static page, the static stuff is already translated, and the custom stuff, if you translate it, will be in that language. So you can test to see what you need to change by choosing that language when you log in, impersonating a user or even yourself, and then you'll see what's not been translated and go there and put in your translation.
Which you will see we haven't done at all, sorry. Busted.
El Gardino, I think, is Spanish for gardening.
Well, we could put the Canadian names and just put A at the end, but yeah. If you are, a couple of tricks around if you are working with supporting different languages, if you want to shortcut people straight into a particular language, instead of having them go to the English language learner view and then select to go to another language, you can add another URL to your domain that is language specific. I know this isn't really in this area, but can you close here and go into the domain settings tab, and then settings at the very top, and then the very first option, basics. So you'll see this URL table here where we've got HTTPS and then we've got the URL demo 2021. We can add more URLs, and if you can click on the add URLs green button there, you can put in whatever the URL is, but then notice the language selection below. You can default whatever that URL is to another language. So we could set up a Spanish one, say. And we could put a different URL and it would just be like demo 2021 .es or something like that, .arcalearn.org. And that URL would go straight into the Spanish language. So if you are, if you have a large audience that you want to really streamline into that language, giving them that URL. That's,
Don't worry about that. That's an old thing.
yeah, don't worry about it.
And scroll down just 1 second, please. To where it says search, change default, please, to catalog.
Yes, thank you. I forgot about that. We used to have a standard search page, and it would search through everything that was available to you. But this allows you to craft your own search page. So yes, another page that a lot of people create is their search listing, which would be absolutely everything that learner could see, but really keep it focused on just the domain. So instead of searching through everything of every domain that you are a member of, you can streamline them to only the things perhaps within your regional center. Which is very useful, but it also means that if someone were to search using the search bar, that you could direct them to any page you want within the sitemap that has a catalog in it. So for us, that would be the main one is our catalog page. Typically, it's one that lists off things that are available for self-enrollment as well. But if everyone is being automatically enrolled in everything they should, then it can be an equivalent sort of my training page or my coursework page. Okay.
Anything else you wanted to talk about on this page, Isabel? No?
Nope.
Okay.
I think I'm good. Were there any other questions about how the custom pages are functioning? Can you actually go into the My Coursework page for a second, and then scroll all the way down to the bottom of the Learning Activities tab? I just want them to see the last option on that page. Okay, the reason that I set up 3 sample pages in this domain was I really wanted to be able to illustrate, and I can get into it more in the branding options later, but you have the option to pick the layout of the page. And each one of the 3 example pages we have there is using a different one. The first one is the boxes, which is the one you're most familiar with for catalogs. If you are creating a page that is for activities that people are enrolled into, typically people want to show a more compressed view. The collapsible table will do that. It doesn't hide things from learners. They can click and expand out the information for an activity, but it does keep a much more compressed list. So it shows the list of the titles. And generally, if they're already enrolled in it, they know about it already. So that's generally a good approach. And as we sort of covered earlier, the calendar view is a great one if you're really focusing on a page that highlights ILTs. And upcoming events. So that is definitely one that I would use for that view. But that is where you select what the view, the layout of that page would be. Okay. So unless there are any other questions, I think we may have exhausted this topic.
You want to show how if you want to go back to the where you were, Cynthia, back to the page?
Yep.
And now use the search box. Refresh the page for, oh, you've already been okay, but yeah, just click on the
I would just switch back to English. Just switch back to English.
I know. Where did my English go though? There we go. Okay.
I noticed that the March 2021 was not translated. Is that not translatable?
You click search, please, over on that.
I'll double check that one for you, Maureen.
Because that's a static thing.
Yeah.
Type something that will find something like fruit or kale or whatever you got in there. Oh, you never use the word kale. So you want to use a word that you've used in a course that you've actually added?
Veg, maybe. Yeah.
There it is.
Great.
Okay.
we are a bit early for lunch, so maybe if there's any other questions.
Before we do, can you go in another tab, go to ashp.org.
I like how you say lunch is provided. Not true.
It was, I know.
Sorry,
It was I
ashp.thinkingcap.com.
copy and pasted that from the thing. Oops. Sorry, ashp.thinkingcap.com.
Yeah.
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 Then I like how I said it was provided.
Yeah.
It was last year.
Okay.
It was.
So go to catalog.
Yep.
It's main catalog.
Main catalog.
Main catalog. Yeah. Just notice like the speed at which this loads, like
Yeah.
that's almost instantaneous. So the new way these pages work, and click next, like just go through the different pages one by one. Just to give a sense of how quickly it moves through. Don't jump all the way to the end because that kind of ruins the effect I was going for. Okay, so there's more, this is not just an act of us changing things for the sake of changing things. These new pages are built to load super fast. Okay, I'm done.
All righty.
What's next on the agenda?
Lunch.
Then change, which
Yeah.
is all about the settings button changes.
Yes.
So I guess Maureen and folks on the call, do you want us to start moving into the next topic? Since we have a little bit of extra time.
Yeah, I would. Or if we want to do lunch, a quicker lunch and come back earlier. It's up to the group. I don't see the group, so nobody's.
I would be open to an early lunch and returning around 12:30.
Okay,
Same here.
so we'll see at past.
Okay.
Great.
Bon appetit.
It sounds good, everybody. Thank you.
So will your Uber Eats be arriving here soon, Maureen? Is that how you plan to feed us lunch?
Not happening. Sorry. Cut and pasted.